Okay, I'm just making another video about this Jesus face in my tapestry. And the only reason I say that it resembles what we have come to know as Jesus is because when I was lying here that day about, I don't know, I suppose it's about 3 years ago now, I'd been in a 432 hertz meditation for about an hour with my headset on, and I took the headset off, opened my eyes, and just whilst I was, coming back to reality, I was just staring at this tapestry. And I've stared at that tapestry thousands of times over the 3 years since I've had it, because I generally lie down here every day and have a variety of meditation. And so what I'm saying here in this video is that, of course, the human mind, first and foremost, has a propensity to seek out faces in all patterns. Now, we see these faces in clouds, we see them in trees, we see them in all different sorts of patterns and shadows and everything like that. The face works very hard to find faces through its pattern recognition. And there is something, and I forget what it's called now, but some of you might be aware of it, where people let a computer generate what it thought it saw. Just filming in a shopping precinct, watching people walk by and this and the other. And what the computer generated was like faces of dogs in everything, basically. It was just seemed really set on finding dogs in everything for some bizarre reason. They haven't worked out why that was, and it's kind of like, wow, this computer decided, for whatever reason, to seek out images of faces of dogs. Now, we all do this to a more or lesser degree, and so what I'm saying here is that I wouldn't have considered that to be Jesus, although it does look, like what we've come to know as Jesus, but I wouldn't get carried away with these notions into some sort of religiosity or mysticism. I want to keep grounded, and I want to keep open-minded. So I'd go, well, it could be Jesus, but it could be any other bearded dude with a little goatee and similar sort of features. So when we see a man face in the clouds or something like that with a long beard, like I've seen many, when breathing, deep breathing, Wim Hof type breathing, or on certain substances, we see male faces with beards and long hair. Well, it doesn't necessarily follow that they are God, but I shouldn't wonder, and I wouldn't doubt that these are the images that our ancient ancestors saw and deemed to be God, because there's lots of stories in the Bible of God appearing in the clouds and this sort of thing. And I've seen these things very, very clear, unimaginably clear. Like Michelangelo painted these figures in the sky with his brush and cloud substance, real, and they have an aura of being real, although they're made out of different shades of cloud. Absolute perfect figures, not just, oh, it looks a little bit like them. No, on DMT you see absolute living entities in the clouds or in trees or in rocks, in whatever. And so our mind has a propensity to do that first and foremost. Now, as I sit here now and I look at that tapestry, I can't see it that clear with these glasses on. These are my reading glasses, and of course they are for close distance. When I put my distance glasses on, I can see it in a similar sort of clarity, but in a different way. Now, when I look at it without any glasses on, I see it the clearest. Now, what is happening here? I can't see it particularly clear with these or these. Why? Because it isn't really there. And the vision is too out of focus with both of these. But then when I look just with, my regular sight, my mind, of course, wants to make something out of it. So my mind is saying to itself, that kind of looks like a face. We can see these features X, Y, and Z. And, the pictures you've seen of Jesus, it looks like that. So then our mind is seeking out to make sense of the world. And so, of course, it projects that onto that tapestry. But there is something there, because when my daughter came round a week after I had the experience, I asked her if she could see anything in that region. And she said, yeah, I can see something there. And I said, well, what can you see? I never said, look, there's Jesus in the tapestry. So she said, well, yeah, there's a face there. It's all around here. He's facing this way. I can see the nose here, snatched a little bit of a beard, and long kind of shoulder length hair. I said, that exactly. That's what I saw on this particular day. I had this experience. Now, what happened is, why I'm saying it was, it seemed like Jesus, because I came out of this meditation and I just laid there, super content and calm. And I saw that for the first time in 3 years of doing this. I'm like, that's weird. And I got up off the couch and I had a closer inspection, and I looked at it from every direction, and I came back and it was still there. I'm like, fuck, I've never seen that before. Haven't I seen that before? And I just carried on laying here looking at it. And then I had a religious experience. And the experience was feeling ecstatic. Those waves of vibration that flowed up and down my body, and it was very much like the onset of an astral projection. Because when we are on the verge of leaving the body, we get into this vibratory state, and there's an energy which flows like a wave machine up and down our bodies, and there's noises that often accompany this, and it can be very loud, it can be chattering, talking voices, it can be very distinct voices, it can be like a jet engine, all different sorts of things like thunderous water. But on this occasion, all I heard was a humming. It was like, and I just laid here, trembling with ecstasy. My whole body was just buzzing, just lost any motor control. I couldn't move, and I felt so blissful that tears were just streaming down my cheeks as I just looked and felt in amazement. And then when that happened, then there was a voice which said to me, if you want to find out what true love is, you need to come through me. And I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, ecstasy, tears, oh, the bliss, like holy rapture. Literally was a very, very religious experience, holy rapture, like a moment of enlightenment, feeling one with Christ. That went away after about 5 minutes, and I was just dumbfounded. And I then, of course, made videos about this, and I subsequently bought William James's, the American philosopher, his book on varieties of religious experiences. And within that book, there is almost the identical experience that I had. And he's writing from experiences from, many, many people who were always, held in high regard, like, popular pastors and, prominent people that have just had bizarre, one-off religious experiences. And they were collated by somebody at the time, and this was like a few hundred years ago. And William James wrote his book early 1900s or late 1800s. So the varieties of religious experience account for about 100 of these experiences. And William James is asking, what is this? How do we account for this? And so because one of these experiences, which resembled what I felt almost identically. It's kind of like, yeah, that's what I had. I had a religious experience. And the thing is about it, why it's so super important, is because for many years, increasingly more and more profoundly, I was investigating and asking the question, what is love? And it was only, I don't know, less than 6 months before I had a large dose of psilocybe simulancita, magic mushrooms, liberty caps. And I considered that Jehovah had spoken to me for about 3.5 hours, and he reprimanded me for my rejection of love, which was his love, which is cosmic love. And for 3.5 hours, he chastised me for my rejection of everybody in my life that's tried to love me. And I've always been rebuking love and discounting love and asking, where is love? Love is, it just falls through your fingers, you know. And I write a whole chapter about love in my book, and I recount these experiences with Jehovah and Jesus and many more. And so you get a greater picture and understanding of your own mind if you read that book. And so because I've been questioning, and I had this encounter with God, which showed me that everything was love. When I was walking around on under the influence of the magic mushrooms, I could see love. I could feel love in everything. This world is blessed with love. And that's what many mystics and spiritual people, gurus, have said forever. And so I experienced that, and I knew what they were all speaking about, because I experienced it. Everything, the leaves hanging on the trees, love, the light shining in the sky, the sun, the warmth, the lush green grass, the joyous young lambs glowing like they're emitting an electrical aura. Amazing, astounding, unbelievable, the most incredible experience I've ever had in my life. And so then I just knew that was Jehovah. I don't know why it was Jehovah, because Jehovah pertains to the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, I have had experience of Jehovah's Witnesses many years ago, which I write in the book, because they came knocking on my door, and they gave me a small introductory book. I read it, and I thought, okay, cool, no problem with that. I'm not a believer. Then they came back in 2 weeks' time, they gave me another one. I read it, and then I chatted to them about it. And then they came back a third time, they gave me a beautiful leather-bound Bible, which eventually I did read in its entirety. And then I read it again 20 years later in its entirety. And so the Jehovah's Witnesses planted the first seed with Christianity. And so, I don't know, there's obviously a root there. There's something there from that particular sect, but I don't have any allegiance with them. But what I also recount in this book that I wrote is about the encounter with the Jehovah's Witnesses, and how when they gave me these books, they're beautiful, nicely quality published books. And they had colour illustrations within them, and the illustrations were of absolutely joyous faces. And it's kind of like, God, we believe in God, we're with God. And I looked at those and I thought they were the most preposterous and ridiculous illustrations of a non-existent human face. I'd never seen anything remotely like that ridiculous look in human beings. Even with the best actors on the planet, they hadn't ever tried to depict that love, because it just didn't look real. And then, again, I speak about in the book, when I had this DMT encounter, and I actually was beaming with one of those smiles when I was under the influence, and I was basking in the realm of God. Everything was pure ecstasy, bliss, God. I was love. Love was everything. Another, variety of enlightenment, spiritual enlightenment. And I've had a lot of these people. And that's why, I'm so assertive about certain things, because I know certain things to be absolutely true, and I know certain things to be just a crock of shit. And I speak through logically and reasonably all of these encounters that I had, and then I call upon other people who wrote about these encounters to have a comparison. So this is what I've done. And so this is why this thing was a very big deal to me. But you see, as much as I say this and make videos like this, and there's some of you that have watched them all, and yet I can't reach you with any profundity. And then, of course, I get people who probably haven't, listened to me speaking about these things before, and they just go, "Oh, just faces, everyone just did it." You're not getting what I'm saying. Hopefully I can get through to you with this video. It's very, very deep, very, very profound, very, very meaningful, and shocking to the core. If you can get your heads around that, absolutely shocking to the core to have been spoken to what I consider to be Jesus, because I saw Jesus' face there, I heard this voice, and he told me if I want to find what true love is, unconditional love, I have to go through him. He showed me then what unconditional love was like. And I was like, oh my god, I can't move, I can't do anything. Like 1,000 orgasms all at once, people. And so, this is what my book's like. It's me speaking and labouring and speaking graphically about these very, very bizarre spiritual and religious experiences I've had, and entheogen-induced experiences and meditation-induced experiences, supernatural experiences that just came out of the blue somehow, and angels came to me and gave me a message and all this sort of thing. And so this is why I'm reading these religious texts all the time. Of course, I'm investigating because there's been something in my life that has wanted me to travel on a certain trajectory, and I'm on it. And for the life of me, I don't know why me. Why me? And I fought and struggled all the way, like a fish on at the end of a line, pulling and trying to get away all the time, but slowly being reeled in by the fact that I just simply can't deny these incredible, amazing things that have happened to me, that I've experienced. And like I say, I've had a dozen. And so it's not just like I've had one or two, I've had a lot, and they keep coming. And it's kind of like, when are you going to get it? When are you going to get this? And I'm like, you tell me. You tell me. And so the whole thing about Jesus is a metaphor. Jesus, Yeshua, the Christ, not Jesus Christ like it's his second name like probably most people think. Jesus the Christ. What does the Christ mean? It means the anointed one. It's indicative of oil being bathed or basked in some precious oil that they used to anoint people in ceremonies and religious ceremonies, what they'll do in the past. And then the Christos is, something that's supposed to be within us, and Jesus says that it's within us, the kingdom of God is within us, everything that I can do, you can do more, we're all, sons of the living God, and all this sort of thing. And the people that read certain things in the Bible, they don't see that. They just don't see it. They don't grok it. They don't understand it. They need to read spiritual religion. They need to read philosophical religion, not just dogmatic religion. What is written in the Bible. You need to read a whole lot more. And like I'm always pointing out, these incredible books. That one there, that's a double volume, and that is the most explanatory and graphic and sensible and philosophical and reasonable and intellectual account of Christ that I've ever come upon. And I've read a lot of it, people. And so, basically, what am I saying here? Well, that was a religious experience. Those sort of things don't happen to many people. But outside of that, what does happen to many people is that we see images. And so, for those of you that, are not grokking the magnitude of what I'm saying, and you're just going, oh, what can I see? Oh, I see this or see that. Well, okay, yeah, we can all do this with everything as we look around. But it's the other thing that I'm really talking about, you see. And, I'm always asking, if any of you have ever had anything like this? Some of you have had near-death experiences. Some of you have had very, very profound, spiritual, religious encounters. And so this channel is about sharing that shit with people. Because all of you will say, well, there's nobody who I can talk to about this in the whole world. All my family and my friends are all NPCs and this and the other. Well, here you can talk about it. Here you can write about it. Here, more than anywhere probably, on the whole of the freaking internet, are going to be people who are looking for that, who have experienced that. So for fuck's sake, if you've had any of this stuff, just fucking, it's time to come clean with this shit now. You're safe. You're safe here to tell your stories. Trust me, you're fucking safe. The first time I had an out-of-body experience, I said to myself that I would never discount any paranormal story that anybody ever told me. Because I knew then that this world, this dimension, was exceedingly bizarre. And then I went on to have a dozen more of these experiences, all equally bizarre. And then I went on to have 300 psychedelic experiences, and then a myriad meditation experiences and supernatural experiences, religious experiences, all the rest of it. And now I know that there are myriad spirits all around us. There are myriad dimensions of consciousness that we can just enter in and out of during different vibratory states. And so this is what I've been speaking about for the past 10, 12 years, and maybe even 14 years. I don't know how long it's been. It's been a long time. And that's what I was compelled to write about. 700 pages. It's quite something. It's quite a compulsion, people, to store up all of these linking stories. The whole duration of the 14 years of my spiritual awakening, I've recounted every single thing of importance, and I've put them down in the greatest of detail, and I never forgot a single thing. And then I draw on myriad of other great minds that have had similar experiences that explain the paranormal, the supernatural, and all the rest of it. So I did make another video about this, but then I got kind of like, I went off, like I often do, and so I thought, well, I need to be more succinct. This is important. And if any of you can realise the magnitude of what I'm expressing here, then I'd appreciate hearing from you. And, but I suppose, this video will get 150 views and then 3 comments as usual. And so what does that tell me? What does it tell me? That these experiences that I've been having are exceedingly rare. I must be an exceedingly gifted person for whatever reason. And, it kind of like elevates me up onto my own pedestal. If I can't hear from you guys to give me grounding, oh, I've had that, oh, don't get carried away out, and I've had this, I've had that, I've had something else. I want to hear it. Because if I don't, then I'm just like, I'm obviously the fucking chosen one, aren't I? What other fucking explanation can I have? If I'm having all these super duper amazing experiences that nobody else is having, then what do we make of that? And then people write brilliant books that sell 1 billion about these things, and I have them every fucking month. What can we say about that, people? That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm, pleading with you fuckers. What have you got? What have you got? Have you got anything? What have you got? Put it on the fucking table. That's what I'm saying.